So now we are going to set up configuration config module, and for that I'll need to install NestJS config. Okay, and if I go back in the documentation, you can see in configuration I have this thing, and we can just initialize it in for app module, and it will automatically pick and parse .env file. Also we can pass a custom file path as well, or if you want, like, we can pass an array. Ignore env file, but we want to pass the env. If you want to make it global, then we can pass it in global, otherwise that's fine. We will be using this configuration. We are going to use this one. Let me show you a bit. If I go down a bit, yeah, so we are going to create a configuration namespaces, and for different stuffs like database, host, port, and these things, like whatever configuration we'll need, we'll create a different file, configuration file. Okay, we'll do it in the common module. So as we have installed NestJS config, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna import config module. I'm just going to write for root. Okay, and how we'll know like what properties we pass? Again, we can click and go here. Is global. Definitely we can use is global, but I just don't want to use is global. But in future, if you want, like, we don't want to import it in every other module, then we can do it. As we saw, like, we can use ignore env file, ignore this thing, environment variable, ignore environment variable, ignore env file path that we saw just above here, somewhere here, like where we can pass multiple paths as well. Let me show you just quickly this one. Okay, so how we are going to configure it? We have configured with the config module dot for root. Now what we can do, we'll creating the namespaces. So if I go here, configuration namespaces, we'll be creating this for different use cases. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna create just a second. What I was trying to think is where I should create this folder. So it will be in config common folder, I mean common module, but most of the things in common module will not be just need to put it in export, since most of the things will not be injectable, not be something, I mean most of the things will not be provided. So until unless something is provided, I don't think we need to export it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create one database config.ts and one for auth. In auth, what I can do, let me show you. Export default, we need to import registered as. I'll show you here. It is registered as, and we need to pass one name. So it will be auth, and whatever the properties we want to access from the environment variable, we can configure it. We can do the type checks and other stuffs as well. So let's say in auth, what I will need is JWT secret. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just use env.jwt secret. Okay, and I'm going to create it here in env file. Let me just do it quickly. Okay, I forgot to create env file, so let me do it now. JWT secret equal to InstallPlan pmt project management tool. Next, what else we can define here? Okay, so what else we can define here? So this will not be an object, instead it will be a method, a callback function which returns an object. Okay, now the second property is which what I'm going to need in authentication is expiration, JW2 expiration, and this will be process.env, and I'm going to use, and similarly I'm going to paste it here, and I can use it 1h. So by default JWT library understands 1h, 60s, 60 second, and mh, these keywords it understands, so that's why I'm writing it this way. Similarly, I'm gonna close all of them. Similarly, I'm going to define database config as well. Okay, I'm going to define database config as well. So export default registered as, the first parameter will be the namespace name database, and the second parameter will be a callback function which returns our properties. Alright, so we need to return, so we'll be using this bracket. Okay, URL, I'm gonna use URL, so process.env. I would like to use DB URL. In some cases, like we use username and password, these things separately. In depending on what database we are using, we can also use URL, DB URL. So, and process.env.db sync. So if we when we will configure this db sync, if we use synchronize true in type ORM, then it will automatically migrate the changes in the database. I am going to explain it when I will be writing that code. So right now let me first define these two things, I mean in environment variable. So what I'm gonna do, in SQLite these things won't matter much, I mean it will automatically synchronize, so you don't need to worry about this. And in database, what I'm gonna do, in database module, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to define type ORM module. So for that I need to install type ORM. So let me just go back in database, and these are the things I need to do. So if I go down and check for SQLite, probably SQLite would be here. Okay, do one thing, I think we can do this way. These two libraries are mandatory, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write pnpmi NestJS type ORM nest, next the type ORM thing, type ORM, the spelling is correct, type ORM. Okay, instead of MySQL 2 we are going to use SQLite 3. And let's configure the type ORM in next video.